Example.
0.
Well, it's like one life ended and another one began. We were away from our family for a long time, or maybe never see them again, So it was very, very tough. My dad in Cuba said, when you go there, you go and ask for George. So I came out of the walkway to the plane, and there was a policeman. So I asked for George, and he said, George, you cannot miss him. He's over there waiting for you guys to get out of there. He was there every day. So George took us to your house, and your mom prepared for us peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at the lunchtime. That's something I will never forget.
1.
We asked our friend Jack Johnson, who was our neighbor, great guy, and he explained to my dad, who spoke English, this idea of Thanksgiving. My dad said that Jack had told him that they celebrated with pumpkin pie. So we went out and we got this pumpkin pie, and it was frozen. And we had the sharpest knife there trying to cut it, and we couldn't cut it, and finally we did it. My dad had a piece and I had a piece, and we thought it was just horrible. The next day we talked to Jack Johnson, and Jack says, no, you're supposed to put the pie in the oven, and bake it. And
2.
When I came here, I thought I spoke English, so I took a job as a receptionist. English was easy for me to understand if you have the person right in front of you, because you can read the lips, you can read the body language. But when you take a job as a receptionist, you're pretty much on the phone.
Yeah.
So over the phone is completely different story. And the biggest struggle was to take messages. So what I did was I sat down with my 10 years old niece and pick up the white pages, the phone book, and I said, you're going to dictate names to me.
3.
Let's take an immigrant. It used to be the case, I'm thinking of Ireland where I'm from, that from an Irishman to come to the United States involved a perilous journey by ship over the sea, and it involved singing lots of songs before you left, saying goodbye, and once you were in the United States, it involved singing lots of songs about how you were never going to set foot in Ireland again. But nowadays, the transfer of people from country to country is not irrevocable in the way that it used to be. You can go backwards and forwards as often as you like, subject to legal and financial restrictions. And furthermore, you can stay in touch with everyone back home. You can read their blogs, you can speak to them on the phone, there are all sorts of ways.
4.
One of the memories I always have is being bullied when I was in kindergarten. It was recess, and I do remember being called some names, and I left school and just walked home. I must have been 5 years old. I walked in the door and surprised Mom. It just became part of growing up for me that this was going to happen wherever I went to school. The worst of it was really the 8th grade, 9th grade, just because it turned into something a little bit more physical where people were grabbing at my turban or pulling on it as I walked the halls. So I used to rush from class to class and hope I'd get through without being touched.
5.
When children would see my parents, they knew that was a big thing about me that was different, that, my mother wore saris, and they didn't really mix with my friends' parents in that same easy, comfortable way. My parents kept a distance. Not that they didn't want to be friends, but there was just a sort of barrier that they couldn't overcome. And again, I think this was a two-way street. It wasn't just that they were afraid or unwilling. I think there was a fear and an unwillingness on both sides.
6.
School was always a friction point with my mother. She didn't speak English, but she understood A and only looked for A's and B's. Anything less than that would mean you'd be studying for the rest of your life. So you'd kind of strive to get those two. And I remember getting an award. I think it was 7th or 8th grade. I was one of 4 students in the whole class that was getting an award. And they said, make sure you invite your parents. And I didn't tell my mom. I felt embarrassed of her because she couldn't speak English and all the other parents could.
7.
I basically spent my first few months sitting in the classroom in the back, being ignored by my teachers because there was no one who could speak Spanish. I remember getting into a lot of fights with the kids. Look, is there anyone crueler than children? But at the same time, we were really, really tough kids. And it was me, my older brother, my older sister, my little sister. We were all in it together. We fought our way into a good social niche. But man, those first 6 months were real dicey, I tell you.